Welcome to Speed and Color, a podcast and YouTube channel about custom motorcycle culture. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to get all the latest content. You can also follow Speed and Color on Instagram. We hope you enjoy the show.
Well, Harvey, good to see you. Thank
Awesome.
you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting.
Jill,
Hi.
good to see you. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
out. And I'm just going to squeak in beside you there. And, I love this shirt. The buttonholes are too big.
I love the color.
Right from the factory. Well, that's why I did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, good to see you guys. Thanks for being here and joining us for Speed and Color. For all of you joining us, we're going to talk about some shows today. So the first show we're going to talk about is Two Wheel Sunday that happens here in Calgary. And just to give you a little bit of history, I think this is number 10.
It's debatable. Some will say 14,
Debatable.
but there's been a few rain out year and also those years where we didn't do anything. Nobody
Yes.
did anything.
Yeah. So Two Wheel Sunday is an outdoor show. It was started years ago by a fellow by the name of Bobby Baum, who is back this year heading up the show. Good guy. It's a really cool show the way it's worked out. It is, of course, on a Sunday, always the first Sunday in June. So it's June 1st this year. It's a one-day deal. Right at the beginning of the season, has been very, very well attended, and is quite a deal. As Harvey said, we have had one rain out in all the years. We've had some rain, but only one rain out. And I think during COVID, we missed a couple shows.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think technically this is the 10th show, but doesn't really matter. Last year, to give you a little history on it, Bobby tried to step away. I think Bobby retired, perhaps.
Is what he was thinking he was going to
That's-
do, yeah.
That's what he was going to do, yeah. So he wanted to take some time for himself, and I know his gal wanted to have some time for them, and Bobby thought that he could step away from the show. And, suffice to say, it didn't work out quite the way anybody planned, especially not Bobby. There was a gal who wound up heading it up. Charlie kind of took over. In all fairness to Charlie, a big undertaking to jump in and pick that show up and run with it. And, I guess, depending on your perspective, there may have been some errors in coordinating it. There may have been a couple things that weren't done quite right, and, the property owners, this happens, they close off a street, and there's a bunch of parking lots there that the business owners allow us to use. And, we could have probably coordinated better with them. And so there were a few glitches, and Bobby decided that he would jump back in again this year. After this year, I don't know what his intention is, and I'm sure we'll talk about that once the show is done. But for now, Bobby's jumped back in. Harvey has stepped up, and I think is pretty much Bobby's right-hand man
That is
at
correct,
this point.
yes. Yeah.
Maybe you're taking it over and you just haven't told us yet. I don't know.
I don't know about that, but he does. He does point my direction when people ask, "What about next year?" He said, "Talk to Harvey," and I'm just like, "We'll see how that goes." Yeah.
So we'll talk about that may tie into Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club. I don't know, but we'll talk about Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club, which we will probably refer to a lot as VJMC. We're going to talk about that later in the show. So with Two Wheel Sunday, again, June 1st, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Harvey, where are we at with it? What's going on?
Well, we're looking really good, Bruce. We're speaking with a lot of vendors. We were at the motorcycle show. We got great responses from that. We're in the process of finalizing city applications, but we're down to just crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and the city's pretty much telling us it's a go. Some of those things that we have to do, it's 1.6 kilometers of street that we shut down, and we also have to be aware that it is a public event. We do not have beer gardens there. That requires a whole lot more paperwork and stuff. And the city and the Calgary Police do have a say in terms of certain vendors that are allowed there or not. And sometimes that can create a bit of an issue.
Right.
So, yes, it's only a 5-hour event from 10 till 3, but it's sure a lot of work in terms of coordinating with the city, with the owners of the businesses, and then getting the clubs and vendors and everybody on board for that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And Jill, you've jumped in this year, and I think I heard you at the meeting the other night take on food trucks.
Food trucks.
Coordinating the food trucks.
That's not going to be a real heavy job, so it's maybe a phone call, one or two, and hook up with some good people at the YYC food trucks. They'll be able to help us out. So I'm hoping that I can maybe help out and do some other things as well, and just kind of alleviate some of the craziness that happens to Bobby and Harvey here, and maybe take on a few other things because I have the time, and it's too good of an event to miss out on being part of.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all of you know, Jill is the social activities coordinator for VJMC, and Jill is masterful at organizing social activities. She really does a great job. So undoubtedly that experience will work well for Two Wheel Sunday. I also attend Two Wheel Sunday meetings. I'll be honest, I don't really volunteer to do that much because of course I'm there as a vendor with Speed and Color, which takes a bunch of my time and means that I can't be doing something else. So I'm there for moral support and maybe ideas if I have anything to offer. But all of us are on the committee. How many people on the committee this year?
Not fully loaded up yet. Still looking for some coordination people and volunteer coordination and city inspector liaison. But currently we're probably sitting at about 8 or 9. Right. I don't know if they would have an official title, but we know what they're doing. Right. And where they're stepping in and how they're doing it. And
I think that's pretty typical. This event takes, give or take, 10 people to really pull it together.
Yeah. You're talking about coordination with vendors, PA systems. This isn't an event where we support a cause or make money. This is just for motorcycle enthusiasts to go out and kind of have a street fair picnic, great time. And there still are costs that are incurred, and we do have to make some of that money. And there's the porta potties and garbage and street closure permits and those things to do. And then if there is anything excess, we put it in a little kitty for the next year to have the financial kickstart to get some balls rolling. And right. We've also made a great connection with Fresh Start, and they're really jumping in to help us out with supporting us with volunteers.
Yes. They've done a good job of that for several years now.
Yeah.
Or maybe not since the beginning, but geez, I'm thinking they've been there for 4 or 5 or 6 years now.
Right. Yeah.
And you mentioned something, and I guess we should explain to people the format of the show. With the street blocked off, there is the commercial buildings on one side of the street, and on the other side of the street is a really nice grass boulevard that backs out onto a creek. It's actually a city green space, I believe.
Correct.
So it's really, really nice. And what happens is the motorcycles come in. It's a, what is that?
You created a one-way.
A crescent.
It's a crescent,
and,
yeah.
and you make a one-way.
One-way.
So you go down to the far end to come in, come down around, and there is parking the full length of the street. And you can park wherever you want along the road there. You can come in when you want, you can leave when you want. I don't think there's any restrictions.
No, that's the beauty of it in terms of a show. You're not restricted to register. You're not restricted of when you're coming, when you're leaving. You know, it's just a great place to ride through if you want, or park your ride and enjoy some of the vendors and the show and shines and that kind of stuff. And
Right.
get together with your buddies and just cruise along, walk along. Yeah.
Yes, and the vendors are typically, for the most part, they're all on the grass. The food trucks aren't on the grass because of the weight of them and stuff. But the other vendors with the pop-up tents and everything are all along the grass, which makes it really nice to go for a walk, visit with people, keeps it a little bit cooler in the vendor
Yep.
area. Works out really nice. So it's a beautiful setting. It's a really, I think it's a great show. It's too bad it can't be a 2-day show.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the city would not be fond of that idea.
Right.
Closing that street for 2 days, it'd be quite a job.
It would be too difficult because if we went on a Saturday, Sunday, the businesses and the parking lots that we use, many of them were open on a Saturday. So
Right.
we're fortunate enough that it's an industrial area, so it's very quiet in terms of business traffic. It's pretty much non-existent. And then, the backdrop and the setting and the grass part, we can't beat it with having a location like that, especially being somewhat in the city. I mean, we're in the city in the northeast, right off McKnight and Edmonton Trail.
And then, of course, Edmonton Trail runs the length of the show on the other side of the green space. And it's interesting. Everybody is very well behaved. I've never seen a motorcycle crack it open when they're going along Edmonton Trail, either coming in or leaving. That never happens. Everybody's very well behaved.
Yeah.
And, Show and shine. What's going on with the show and shine?
Show and shine. We have some volunteers. Wade Youngman is heading that up, and he's getting some bikes together. And people are welcome to give a call or try to enter their motorcycles. They're open to all motorcycles. Yeah,
Right.
there will be some prizes. You get a trophy of some type, but it's more about the recognition and showing off your build and that kind of stuff. So
Now, with the show and shine, though, I understand you have to be committed to the 5 hours.
that's right. Yeah,
So
that's
There's no come and go with the show and shine. You need to be there for the duration.
right. So you got to be there, parked, and wait till the end. Yeah,
Okay.
go till after 3.
And possibly we're going to do that on the grass. We're hoping.
We're going to have to look at some of the scenarios of that. Yeah, so that's still not written in stone.
And what about the vendor area?
Vendor area is majority, like you said, on the grass, and those would be our pop-up tents or 10 by 10 tents. Some
How
of
are
the
we doing with vendors?
We're doing really good with vendors.
Are we?
Yeah. So currently it's $75 to have a tent for the day. If it's after May 15th, there'll be a late charge of $100. We do have the discretion to waive some of the fees if the vendors are hurting or have a difficult time. If you have the $75, it's appreciated to help out with the costs incurred with the program. And then if you don't, we'd rather just see a whole lot of vendors there. And it
Right.
just makes it a whole lot more fun.
I think it's always been Bobby's philosophy that if you want to be at Two Wheel Sunday, we'll accommodate. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
Yes, it's preferred that you pay the really reasonable cost. However, if for some reason you just can't and you should be or want to be at the show, then we can find a way to accommodate that. I wanted to clarify too, you said that the late fee or late charge of $100, the late charge is actually only $25.
Right, that's
So it's
right.
$100 for your space, not the $75 plus $100
Correct.
late charge. Right.
Thanks for bringing that up, Bruce.
Yeah, just so we know, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking, man, you don't want to be late for that show. Right on. We need to address this, I think. I heard that there was an issue with some vendors not wanting to be there because of other people involved in the show. Have we gotten past that, or?
We had a lunch about that yesterday. Have we gotten past it? Maybe certain people that are running those vendors will not be there, but we really want their, and we've been told that their group would most likely be there representing what they're,
Okay.
what
Okay.
we'd love to see.
That's good, because, and thank you for doing that lunch. I don't know any specifics about it, but I can imagine what you had to do there, and thank you for doing that. It's an unfortunate situation, and we won't call out the individuals or anything, but it's an unfortunate situation where there is a conflict between a couple people who are very influential, and that is spilling into the motorcycle community and causing some division, and possibly there would be attendance implications.
Correct.
You know, if people kind of take sides, and I guess I've been thinking about this a lot since the last meeting, and this is totally my opinion. These people have nothing to do with it. They do not know what I'm about to say. They did not know we were going to discuss this. So for sure, this is not them. This is Bruce. And if you want to leave me a comment or give me your opinion on it, I will accept that. I guess right now, I just feel like we are in a world with so much division and anger and even at the extreme hatred. We don't need that in the motorcycle community. And it's really unfortunate when a couple influential people don't agree or have a conflict. Sorry that's happening, but you know what? That needs to remain between those two individuals and should not in any way affect the motorcycle community. And, you know, I'll use the analogy right now looking at the situation with the U.S. And Karen and I are headed to Vegas here shortly, and I've had people say, "Oh, how can you go to Vegas when we have these issues?" Well, I guess to my way of thinking, I don't have a problem with Americans. I may not agree with Mr. Trump. That's okay. We're allowed to do that. But I don't have a problem with Americans. And if I were to stay away, that would punish me. It would, in a small way, it would affect the servers, the people who work at the resort, all that kind of stuff. It may impact them in a small way. The one person who will never ever know that I stayed away will be Donald Trump. It won't make any difference in his life. So I don't think staying away really accomplish as much. Like I say, the person who pays the biggest price is me, and I'm not sure why I would have to pay a price for Donald Trump's political strategies. That said, I apply that same logic to Two Wheel Sunday. Why would I pick a side and stay away when that means I'll miss the show, and the show will miss one more participant at the show? It's really not going to do anything to the people who are in conflict. It's not going to help them. It's not going to send a message. So why would you do it? Anyway, that's my spin on what's happening there. I think everybody should come out to the show and be the motorcycle community and allow anybody who needs to work something out with somebody else to do that on their time, in their way. That's all I'm saying about that. Two Wheel Sunday, anything else either of you want to say?
Well, I'm glad you did bring this up. It's the people that hurt. We're not into politics and taking sides. It's just a community of enthusiasts getting together. And that's what it's about. And it's not about what you ride, in what type of branding or anything like that. Come out and enjoy everything. Right?
Two Wheel Sunday is wide open.
Wide
man.
open,
There
yeah.
is vintage stuff, restorations, customs, stock bikes. There's every brand, every color, every. There's even scooters.
There's even
Even
scooters.
scooters.
You'll probably see me there.
And there's some three-wheelers too.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of trikes and the Bombardier stuff, the Spiders and that. And we have to remember that maybe our motorcycle community is aging a little bit, and embrace those that, you know, possibly physically can't ride a two-wheeler anymore.
Yes.
But still want that whole experience of that smell and feel and doing that, right? So
They don't have to be aged.
That's right.
Just to not be able to ride two wheels.
That's
There's
correct.
other reasons as
Yep.
well. So.
I
Yes.
personally know that they are as much as motorcycle enthusiasts as we are.
Yes.
Like, they want to be there. They want to be part of everything. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, if that's it for Two Wheel Sunday, I thought that maybe we could talk a bit about the Kickstart Show. The Kickstart Show is a show, this will be, and oddly enough, this will be the 10th Kickstart Show this year. Kickstart has been hosted, coordinated, put on by Ill Fated Kustoms. Jenn and Kenny have done a great job. I know they've had help. I don't know everybody's names, so I'm not going to try and do that. But they certainly have help with the show. Kickstart has been a really unique format where since very early in the show, they used to have it in the spring. They moved it to June because they found spring, the weather wasn't very good most years, and it was making it difficult to get bikes in. They couldn't be ridden in, and if they were trailered, they were wet and everything else. So they did move it to June, which certainly made it a lot nicer for getting your bike there. But what is really unique about it is it's been an application and acceptance process. So limited space, for example, last year, I believe they had 42 or 43 bikes. Jenn actually made room late in the process to fit a couple extra bikes in, but they don't crowd bikes into the space. They make sure that they leave, and this is mainly Jenn actually, make sure that she leaves enough space between bikes that you can walk around them, view them unobstructed. So you have to apply, and you are accepted by the planning committee, if you will. You know, 42 bikes is not a big show, so it's kind of a little bit exclusive, I guess, in that way, getting into it. It's pretty neat. And unfortunately, this will be the last year for the Kickstart Show. Originally, where was it originally? It was at the airport in a hangar, I think, was the original location. Then it moved to an art gallery, and I apologize. I know it's CKG, but I forget the gal's name. But anyway, it moved to an art gallery that was conveniently located near Ill Fated Kustoms, or in fact, I think it was right next door. So it was kind of neat to have art and motorcycles in the same show area. That was pretty cool for several years. And then they moved the show down to what's called the Pioneer, which is a historical building down on the Stephen Avenue Mall, correct? And they moved the show down there for the last couple of years, 2 or 3. Anyway, it's been down there, and this year, for the final year, they are going back to the art gallery and hosting it there. And I don't know how many bikes will be involved. I take it will be an application process again. Kind of interesting. So it's been, you know, again, it's very cool how these unique shows pop up and how they get started. And Kickstart has definitely been a bit of an eclectic crowd, maybe, you know, very different, very successful, very well attended, and
Bruce, can you clarify for the viewers why they call it Kickstart?
because it was early in the year, and Kickstart would refer to the manual way of starting a motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Starting
So
your
it's
season.
starting the season, yes.
Starting the season.
Yeah.
Is it mandatory that the bike that goes in has a Kickstarter to it?
It is not.
It's not.
It is not.
Oh.
Because mine was in last year, and
Right.
mine does not have a kickstart. I'm a pussy. It has a starter motor on it. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay.
But a great show. Sad to see it go. You know, I was thinking about that when I saw that it was the last one and everything, and I hate to say this, but I kind of like that they're not trying to pass it along. They're not trying to let somebody else take control of it or anything like that. That was their project, their baby, and when it's done, it's done. And I really respect that decision. I think that's good that they've said, okay, this is done. Will something else come up in its place? Could somebody do something with a similar kind of feel? Yeah, that's all fair game. But I think, like I say, I respect Jenn and Kenny for saying, this is it, we're done.
And so how does a person get entry to bring their bike there?
If you go to the Ill Fated Kustoms, oh boy, Ill Fated, well, ILL obviously, FATED, and I believe they use a K. Yeah, good for you. See, that's why we've got Jill here. She knows all this stuff.
She knows, yeah.
She knows how to spell. Harvey and I are challenged.
Well, it's not really the way to spell it, but
But you pay attention.
Yeah.
Anyway, KUSTOMS.
Yep.
So the Ill Fated Kustoms website will have the application form. You complete the application form and send Jen the form with supporting photos of your bike. And I don't know who makes the decision.
Well, they do want to know that you have a part in rebuilding a bike or customizing a bike. You've done some work in your garage. You may have taken the bike somewhere to have some work done, but you are an integral part of working on your own machine.
Yes,
So-
and that's a really important part of their show that I had forgotten about, is it is for garage builds. It is not for professional builds.
Correct. And we have so many cool, talented people in this
We
city.
do.
We do.
We do.
You included, but we
Oh,
do
thanks.
have we do have a lot of people that
That's
do
the
some
other
really
reason we
fun-
have Jill here.
Yeah.
But anyway.
She makes you feel good.
But yes, we do have, and again, when you talk about builders, restorations and customs and just so much different stuff, and we really do have a good community that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sad it's the last year when I read that, but I know that we'll have some other form, some other way to get the community together and do events like this, like Two Wheel Sunday, like, you know, any the bike show for that matter. I mean, we're still gonna go to the bike show, we're still gonna be, you know, a community going and joining and
Supporting.
talking and supporting and, you know, we need lots of that. I feel we need lots of that. It's all about the community for me.
Yes.
Yep.
And we need to grow that community.
Yep.
Good. So last year for the Kickstart Show, you know, if you're listening to this south of the border or out in BC or in Saskatchewan or whatever, boy, it'd be great to have you at the show and to have some new bikes, some different people, and it'd be fun for you to get in on the last one. So consider putting in your application.
It is a classy affair. That's what I want to call it. It's a classy affair.
It
It
is.
is so much fun.
It's really well done with the Friday night pre-party.
Yep.
And then Saturday, Sunday is the show. Oh, and yes, June 13 to 15 this year
Oh, okay.
is when the show is on. And that's unfortunate for me because we already have the Airbnb booked for Friday the 13th at Port Dover. So Karen and I will be at Port Dover that weekend. Port Dover is, well, Friday the 13th is the show there. Again, another unique show that we could talk about, but we'll leave that one out for right now. And I think June 13 to 15 is also going to be Born Free California. I'm not sure, I haven't seen their date yet, but quite often it's on the same weekend as the Kickstart Show. And again, Born Free California is great, it's an awesome show, it's fantastic. Doesn't really take a lot of community members from the Calgary area or Alberta or I would think even Canada. But there's no reason why it couldn't because it is a good show. Yeah. So now let's turn to the Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club. I'm going to let Harvey give us background of the structure and all that kind of stuff. But what I want to say about VJMC is I joined because I have the Yamaha and a couple other XS650s that I'm building. And I also have a Kawasaki 500 triple two-stroke that I'm working on or will be working on. And I need some help with that because I'm not a two-stroke guy, and I wanted to get to meet some people who could maybe give me a little support on that project. So for that reason, with those bikes, I joined VJMC. I am here to tell you, this is the best club Karen and I have ever joined. The people are absolutely wonderful. It is such a good group. The spirit is good, mainly because Jill does such a great job with the social activities. But I don't know how to say it. It runs smooth. They're supportive. Everybody's great to talk to. They support events. I mean, VJMC was at the motorcycle show with Two Wheel Sunday, supporting Two Wheel Sunday. VJMC is usually at at other shows.
VJMC did Move Your Soul.
Yeah, you guys went as far as to, when we didn't have a motorcycle show because of COVID, VJMC actually put on a show at that same time of year to
Get people
replace,
out.
offset, yeah.
Get people out,
Offset the lack of the motorcycle show.
And and I think the theme of that one was a lot like Two Wheel Sunday, where it was very casual, very open. Anybody could come, anybody could
Right.
set up a table, and it was just about having a winter activity, something to do in the winter when we can't be outside riding our bikes.
Yeah.
So again, very, very casual, but it ended up being a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
And of course, VJMC has ride nights and there's Christmas event and winter things and what do we call those, garage visits?
days.
Garage days. Just all kinds of stuff going on. So a great group. But I'm going to let Harvey, because Jill admitted to me she doesn't really know the global structure of VJMC. So we're going to let Harvey explain how this whole vintage Japanese motorcycle club works.
Well, Vintage Japanese is worldwide. The head office would be considered in the UK, and it's I couldn't tell you what they have for memberships. Many of our club members are part of the global membership, and magazine articles come out, dates of big rides and shows and stuff. So probably about 15 years ago, two guys here in Calgary, Larry Anderson, Dave Fisher, and Wade Youngman got together and said, why don't we start a Calgary branch? So we are considered VJMC Calgary. No, we don't pay dues to the mothership or anything like that, but it's just a way to stay in contact with more than just your local scene. You did mention the community of the VJMC Calgary. We probably have about 30, 35 members. Our membership dues are $25. We get together once a month, second Tuesday of the month, and you don't even have to be a member to show up. We should go to the golf course in Douglasdale. And what I like about it is passionate people that love to ride, build, and help. And there's so much knowledge there, and everybody's willing. The egos are put aside, and they're actually suppressed, which amazes me. There's nobody really beating their chest. And it's, once you get to learn some of the guys and girls there, and they're like, they know their stuff, but they're so willing to help you out in terms of what are you building, how can I help, what's your issue, what's your problem, where do you need parts. I know a guy, right? And everybody seems to know a guy or a girl. I know, and it's nice to get together with a community like that. And during this riding season, the last Wednesday of the month, we get together at Peter's Drive-In for a little ride. We don't do a formal ride. No, we just pull up there and do your burger and shakes and just see how things are going. And then the rest of the stuff we hand over to Jill, arranging our garage days. Now, let me explain. There's some great iron out there in garages and some people that got some stuff. And they welcome you to their place, and one might get some pizza or there'll be a barbecue. Most people will ride to the event. Somebody will host it. We get to see what they're doing, what their place looks like, get to meet more of their family, because sometimes the majority of it is men, but we actually got quite a few girls. Yep. We got 5 to 7, 8. We got quite a few. And they're all riders too, and that's awesome, right? And so there's those different events. Jill also puts on like a Mother's Day ride or something, and we'll take the back way into Cochrane, and we'll go for an ice cream cone, and then maybe down to Bragg Creek or something like that. So I'll let Jill talk about the social part of it.
Do you lay out the
the map, so to
the
speak, or
map,
the
yeah.
calendar.
You
Not
do
so
all
much.
of that, or
no,
no?
there's not much
Okay.
involved in that. It just kind of, I think it plays out. You know, everybody wants to go for a ride when the season is rolling, so that's usually our Mother's Day ride. So sometime in May, we'll get together and, you know, start getting the bikes on the road. And, you know, I mean, it's great to just be able to get out there. And, you know, obviously May, people have already been riding a little bit, but it's nice to get out as a group and a family. And, you know, there is lots of family that likes to come. So,
Yes.
you know, if a member is bringing their brother, their sister, their wife, whatever, we're welcome to whoever wants to come. So, and then, you know, then there's going to be a couple events over the summer and garage parties and, whatever you can throw out there. It's, we're kind of open to do whatever it is that everybody agrees on. I think our next event is going to be going to speeders and maybe pretend that we're on our bikes and
That's
go
right,
race around an indoor track. And,
Yeah.
you know, there might be some egos that might come out that
Oh yeah, that's not a problem there. That's game on that one. I'll tell
I
you that.
got black flagged at speeders
Did you?
once. Yeah, I did.
Well, we don't want to go in as a group and see how many of us can get black flagged.
Let's just say she wouldn't get out of my way.
Oh, we're not talking about Karen, are we?
Or not. That's the funny part. Didn't even know her. Anyway, very good.
yeah.
So here's a good question for you. And Jill, we'll start with you.
Sure.
So how long you been riding and what all is in the stable?
Oh boy, I have been riding for over 40 years. Started my first summer on the back of my husband's motorcycle and decided that no, I needed to be in control. So I took my lessons the following year. So that was 40 plus years ago. Currently, right now, I have 3 bikes. I have a 2019 Triumph Street Twin. That's kind of my everyday rider if I want to go and hang out with my friends and ride to Bragg Creek or any of the many beautiful roads
And that's
around
not
here.
a Japanese bike.
And it's
is
not a
it?
Japanese bike. No, that is my first non-Japanese bike, believe it or not. And then I also have a 1987 GPZ, Kawasaki GPZ 305. It's kind of a unique little small bike. I like small bikes. I don't need to ride a 1200 or anything like that. I have as much fun riding a 305 as I do my 900. And then the other bike I recently purchased is a 1985 Honda Elite scooter. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. Every year there's a new little hiccup. Anybody who has an old bike knows that every time you start it up, you cross your fingers and hope that it's going to work. So I think this year might be my first and last year at Ill Fated. I think I'll bring my scooter out. And
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
That's what I like about that
This is the Sarah
show.
Connor scooter?
Yes, Sarah Connor scooter.
Terminator scooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's something that's been fun to work on and make it unique for me. And so I was asked last year if I would bring the bike in, but I was not quite ready. But this year, I think being the last event for that. That's what I like about that event too, is that you can have some really cool people have put a lot of hours into their bikes, building, customizing, all of that. Or you have the, everyday garage builder like me that just wants to make my bike unique. Not necessarily am I adding any more horsepower, I'm just adding certain things that make it unique for me. And everybody has a chance to showcase their stuff. And whether it's,
I think it'd be great if you made the Kickstart Show this year.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
That'd be wonderful.
Yep, be fun.
Yeah.
So that's what's hiding in my garage. I'm contemplating a new purchase this year, but I don't know exactly what that's going to be.
Well, go ahead. You shared with me what you were thinking about.
Well, we were talking about the Honda Transalp for sure. I'm looking for something that maybe I can do a little bit of on-off road with, and maybe something with a little more wind protection. Most of the bikes that I have are pretty sport related, not much for windshield, not much for baggage, so this could be a fit that might work for me. Or, yeah, I don't know. It's just fun to go out and look. It's fun to dream. That's what winter's all about.
The Transalp would be a good choice. That bike has really been a hit here.
For sure.
It's been a hit in Europe for a long time. But yeah, bringing it to Canada was a good move.
Yeah.
And the Africa Twin for some people is just a little bit too much.
It's a lot of tall bike.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is, for
Yeah.
sure. Harvey,
Yes.
what about you? When did you start riding, and what's in your garage these days?
Would have started riding over 50 years ago. On a little Z50, little Honda Z50, out at the lake. Somebody had one, and boy, when I got on that thing, that changed my life. Something just went off in me and said, "Yeah, this is nice. I like it." You know, getting into motorcycles, maybe it starts with bicycles, and you get your first bicycle, or I'm speaking for myself, I get my first bicycle, and all of a sudden it starts to open up the world a little more, because I can go a little farther and seeing what's down certain streets, which would be too far to walk, and then all of a sudden somebody has a motorcycle or a little mini bike, right? So yeah, I started off on those little CT70s, XR75s. Older brother had one. My cousin was older, and the CB750 came out, and him and his buddies got them, and 5 of them would be on the garage or in the garage, and you know, they'd be getting ready, and us little neighborhood kids, we'd be coming along just crying for a ride, you know, and we'd get to go around the block, and I sure remember burning my calf coming off and on the pipes. I mean, you were still wearing t-shirts and shorts and flip-flops, and yeah, we're dressed for the ride or the slide, yeah. And so yeah, once it came time to buy mine, I was working with a guy, and he had a nice 78 KZ 650 SR that you know, he was getting on into family life, and it was time for the bike to go, and so I bought it off of him, and I still have that bike, my very first street bike, and yeah. It's in the process of being rebuilt, so it's going into final assembly now. It's been stripped right down, powder coated, painted, and a lot of new components.
That's right. I think we got to see that at one of the
garage days. He would have
Yeah.
had it laid out and on the bench there and things like that. Yeah. And so that has sentimental value, always being your first. I'll be honest, I could probably buy one cheaper, but it's not the one.
Always.
And I've got a picture with my daughter, Natasha, on the tank at 2 years old, going for her first ride. And she's now 28. I've got 3 daughters, all 3 ride. My beautiful wife, Em, rides. And my boys are into trucks. So, yeah. So it's nice to share the riding experience with, and I just love it when I see the girls riding and stuff like that. It gets me very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let anybody
And
tell
Em's
you
quite
can't
a
do it.
rider.
Yeah, she rides a nice
she holds her
FZ6R
own,
and sport touring, and she can rip through the mountains and do all that stuff. So we do quite a bit of that, yeah.
So what have you got in the garage? Or do you not want to say, because Em might watch this and learn something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the 80s, I got heavily into the two-stroke stuff, the RZ500s.
Okay.
Did quite a bit of racing and riding with those. And then I stepped away for a while from motorcycling. It is a common story, one that we hear in our club quite a bit, that work and life and family and things start taking precedence, and you kind of park the stuff. And yeah, you once all the kids get older and you're maybe a little more settled, and you're not having to go to hockey and piano and soccer every 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. You're kind of looking for that fill that void in space, and what better way is to kind of relive your youth and go back to nostalgia and get a bike again and pretend you're 16 or 17 smell them and hear them and all that kind of stuff. So in the garage right now, got a little Repsol CBR 125. It's what the girls have all learned to ride on. And it's just a little single putt-putt, we call it, but it's a cool little city bike. But my daughter Soren, actually, she went from Nelson to Castlegar leading the pack, and she can get 110 clicks out of it and stay up, but she's lighter in yeah, she could do it.
Right.
M's FZ 6R, 85 Ninja 600. A really nice little GPZ in purple. 500 parallel twin. That's a nice smaller bike that handles really well in the twisties.
What about
78.
that pink bike?
Oh, I've got a Triumph, yes. Triumph, 2002 Triumph in nuclear red. It's a 900 speed triple. Torquey. And yes, it's pink. I say nuclear red. The factory called it nuclear red. The dealerships couldn't get them off their floor, so they painted the majority of them black so they could get rid of them. And I'm okay with a nice bright pink bike. It's I also kind of grew up with older brothers, and they were all collectors of muscle cars in the 60s and early 70s. And I love high impact colors, something that's bizarre and out there. And once I found this one in pink, yeah.
That did the trick.
That did the trick, yeah. It's a good looking bike. So for people that don't understand motorcycles, we might have multiple bikes because they do different things, whether it's sport touring or whether it's straight cruising or whether you want to do some dirt stuff. You get your little ones, your bigger ones, and people don't understand why you need more than one.
But we understand.
We understand. So, yeah, I'm preaching to the choir here. I don't have to sell you. Yeah.
And you have recently joined the Road Couch Club.
That is correct. Yes. Yeah. Found a really nice, clean, one owner, 1997 Honda Goldwing in green. And
In green.
in green,
What's
emerald,
that green
emerald
like?
green.
Is it a dark green?
Yeah.
What is? Okay.
Yeah. So call it the couch with a motor on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to going on some of those longer rides, you know, and in multiple day rides because you've got the luggage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And what our club membership or the VJMC, if people are wanting to know or interested, there's multiple motorcycles that aren't just Japanese. So, I mean, you're not ostracized by showing up with something that's not Japanese. Yeah. The intent is, that's why we're together, is the Japanese, but we've got plenty of Harleys and Triumphs and BMWs, Ducatis, and a wide range of motorcycles. So
there are some pretty cool motorcycles in the club.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
And some pretty talented people, Dave and Rex.
Dave and Rex, yeah.
Yeah.
Motor Bros, yeah.
Yeah, those guys, man, they know what they're doing with old bikes.
That's
Yeah.
why I joined the group,
Yeah.
right? Is I have this bike now. It's it's a 1985 bike. Well, okay, I want to do some work on this bike, and I need some guidance in some of that. I can do enough of it on my own, but when it comes to electrical, nope. We have an electrical guy.
We got Jerry on electrical.
Yeah,
we
we
got
got
Motor
Jerry
Bros
on- yeah.
that are going to do your carbs and your motors.
Yeah,
It's nonstop.
Yeah.
You've got, yeah.
just the
Very good.
enthusiasm and the people willing to help you, get your bike on the road or do whatever it is that you want to do with your bike. And that's a good thing to have. I will never say that I know everything about motorcycles anymore because these guys know way more than I do.
Yeah.
It's becoming a losing art in terms of the knowledge that some of the veterans have in rebuilding stuff. It's
Yes.
just, they were there. They were there when Honda was coming out, and they were sitting there in the shops already back in '69 and '70, like tinkering on this stuff, and very smart, like very smart. And I'm just saying Honda, but that's where some of them did work, but they're knowledgeable right across the board. And if they don't know, they know a guy, right? And it's about that connecting and networking, and and we all just want to ride. I mean, we do enjoy the building, but the beautiful part about motorcycles is the art. I mean, you said art and motorcycles. Well, I'm thinking the motorcycle is the art.
True.
And
True.
It's not a static piece. We love looking at them, but we get to fire them up, and we get to go for...
It's functional art.
It's a functional art, yeah.
So when do we get rolling? What happens? I know it's weather dependent, but when do you typically try and get the gang out?
No, it'll probably by the time everybody gets their corks out of their bikes and whatnot, it probably is the May Mother's Day ride.
Okay.
Whether we luck out and get some weather before that we can do some other things. I think probably a garage day will be right up there in the beginning. Those are great days where we get to go and see what people have in their garage. Some people don't even know how many things they have in their garage. So kind of like this garage here. How many bikes do you have here? It's nice to go and see what people are working on. So that will probably be one of our events, other than our day at the track doing indoor go-karting. Just
Bike nights, when do we normally start bike nights?
For Peters?
Yeah.
Peters Drive-In will...
April if we're lucky?
Yeah, if we're going to get a nice day and it's
really?
we're going.
Oh.
Yeah. So just whoever wants to bring their bike out. Yeah. And that's always a fun event too, going to Peters, because it's been happening for a couple of years now, and everybody knows that on the last Wednesday of the month, I'm going to go to Peters and I'm going to see what kind of cool bikes show up.
Right.
You know, so we have other bike clubs visiting us at Peters Drive-In for a little bit of it's kind of like a little impromptu show. You know, you get to hang out, you get to eat some good food, and you get to look at what cool bikes, and so,
And for those of you who don't know Calgary, Peters Drive-In, when did it start? How long has it been there? Oh my goodness. It's your typical old school drive-in. There is no indoor seating. No. It's a walk up or drive up. It has been in Calgary, like I say, for a long, long time. Everybody knows Peters Drive-In on 16th Avenue. So the location is great for doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, nice big parking lot, and there's, there's days where it's too cold and not everybody's going to come, but I can guarantee somebody's going to be there.
Yeah.
Somebody will brave the weather.
There's always one that's got to show up. Yeah.
What else do we need to know about VJMC?
I think we've covered all the basics. People are welcome to come out and join
Have we
anytime.
got a website?
That's been the ongoing question for a few years.
So
We're not all that technical savvy. If anybody out there would really love to help us out on the computer end of things, some of the guys that are doing that are a little busy with their jobs.
with their own
Yeah. And,
See, every time I go to a meeting, I hear that question.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that was our way of greeting each other.
it is.
Do you have a website?
Yeah.
we're hoping our website will be up and running anytime soon. But if in the meantime you need to get a hold of us, we are going to be the second Tuesday of every month at Eagle Quest Golf Course in Douglasdale. It's an open event. Just come by and introduce yourself and just, meet the crew, and you will find that everybody is super, super inviting of you, your spouse, whoever you want to bring with you. Sit, have a bite to eat maybe, and just watch what happens, and, very informal, very informal.
Very informal. Usually there between 6 o'clock till 7:30. At 6:30 we do have a bit of a monthly meeting just to talk about what's going on and the happenings and that kind of stuff. And bite to eat and get to know some people.
for those of you listening or watching who are not in the Calgary area, maybe you're in Boise, Idaho. I don't know if Boise has a VJMC chapter. And I don't know if we're supposed to call them chapters. I don't know if that's right either. But anyway, there is a vintage Japanese motorcycle website at the top level, I'm sure.
There is, yeah.
Because I think that's how I got to you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Ill-
So
yeah.
if you look up Vintage Japanese Motorcycle Club, top level, maybe you want to start something in your area, that would be the way to get going.
A few forms to fill out, and you're going to need directors and that kind of stuff, but that'd be great to see more clubs and different areas, And what a better way to help out, many people got a bike sitting in the garage or in the shed or something. Well, they don't know where to start or how to do it. Once you can find other people in a similar situation, you can start bouncing off ideas and working things out and getting it done. And yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, if you guys are done, are you done?
I think so.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you to you two. I really enjoyed having you here.
You're welcome.
Speed and Color on YouTube. The podcast is available on pretty much all podcast platforms. Instagram, we're on Instagram. You can check us out there.
We are on Instagram as well. There's another way that you can get a hold of us. So VJMC is VJMC Calgary on Instagram. So we will, maybe during the winters it's a little quieter, but any events that are happening.
At VJMC, is there an underscore or a hyphen, or is it all just one word?
I'm gonna let you add that in at the end here because I can't remember exactly. I think it's VJMC at VJMC Calgary.
Okay.
And
I'll put it on the bottom of the screen just to verify.
yeah.
Yes.
So we like to showcase a few bikes, what we're up to, what events we're doing, and you can also contact us through there, right?
Yeah.
So just send us a little
DM,
message and if you need an invite to the event or if you want an invite to our meeting, then we'll make sure that we're there to greet you at the door and introduce you around to all your new friends.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job.
And we'd love to see younger members showing up too.
Yeah.
We'd love
Yes,
to.
we love to see younger members in the motorcycle community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
And
somebody's dad's got a bike in the garage or,
Yeah.
or something, and they've
Yeah.
always wanted to, get that bike running or whatever. And
Boy, this would be the place to get some help.
absolutely.
Yeah. And get you on the road for fewer dollars.
Yeah, if people would be falling all over themselves to go and help you to get something running. So.
Always.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so check us out on Instagram, give us a like. When you go to YouTube, please remember, subscribe, leave me a comment, leave me a question for these guys if you want. We can pass that along. Again, thanks for being here. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks. See ya.